Hey, it's Matt Durbin here with eXp Realty, and I want to take you through what is happening here in October in the Pittsburgh real estate market. So we're going to do a quick Pittsburgh real estate market update for the month of October 2025. I want to get things started with some national housing news, right? And I want to look at a couple of different markets that are kind of the outliers or the things that are really driving some of the news that we see on a national level. So we hear a lot about rising inventory levels and the potential for obviously price declines, but I just want to show the differences between our local market here and some of the markets here around the country and show you that what is happening nationally isn't what is happening here locally. And so let's start with for sale inventory and look at a few of the home markets in Florida as well as Texas. So let's start with Miami. And really what we're looking at in most of these scenarios and what we'll look at here in the Pittsburgh market is how do we compare to pre-2020 levels? Because in 2017, 2018, in our market here, homes were sitting long. We're trying to get price reductions. It would take 60, 90, 120 days to sell some homes. And we had a ton of inventory. We had a lot for buyers to look through, and it was more of a buyer's market in this 2017, 2018 period of time. And then obviously rates continued to come down. And you can see what happened here in Miami, which is set for pricing declines. They are now back up the inventory that they had kind of pre-2020, pre-COVID, so to speak. Let's look at a few of these other markets. So let's look at Tampa, for example, which is seeing inventory increases. Inventory is way up versus where they were at kind of pre-2020. So we have 18,674 homes for sale. Currently, back in 2017, they only had 13,000 homes for sale. Let's look at this Cape Coral, Fort Myers area. What does that look like? Again, 7,000, 8,000 homes for sale. They're up over 10,000 homes for sale. So simple supply and demand tells us what? As inventory levels rise, home values decline. So the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach markets down 4.2%. The Naples market's down 7.5%. Cape Coral, Fort Myers, that market is down 10%. Punta Gorda area down 12%. Let's look at Northport, which got hammered back in the crash in 2008 when we were down there. Tampa area is down 6%. So inventory levels generally precede declining home values. And so when we look at inventory levels here in the Pittsburgh area, and we look at home values, our inventory levels are still drastically below where we were at pre-COVID, pre-2020. We had nearly 10,000 homes for sale in 2017, 8,500, 7,700. So we were obviously trending down closer to a seller's market. This was the madness, 21, 22, 23, everything was multiple offers. And now we're inching our way back up to normal, but we're nowhere near what some of these other markets are. And so what does that mean? Our market is generally pretty stable. So what does, home value growth look like? It looks like the same old Pittsburgh, 5%, 3.6%, 1%. So we've always seen historically in our general area, in our market, 2 to 3% appreciation every year. We can kind of count on 3% in most areas, most localities, most locations here in and around the city. We've leveled out a little bit, but we see this giant jump, which is 2021, which kind of brought us back to where the times are and more realistic with what's happening in the national market. But so we saw this huge jump, and now things are back on that steady approach. So we should feel fortunate that we're here in the Pittsburgh market, that we don't have these huge high highs, low lows. And as inventory tends to come up, pricing tends to slow down a little bit. Price appreciation tends to slow down a little bit. And that's kind of where we're at right now. Let's look at market trends. Our days on market, pretty steady, right? Over the last 3 years, 52 days on market, still technically a seller's market. 2 to 3 months worth of inventory, which would be 60 to 90 days on market, is generally speaking a normal market. It is a balanced market. We're still at 50 days on market. Let's look at what one of the leading indicators that we look at is, where's it at? price cut percentage. So are sellers dropping prices right now? Yeah, so we're up there. So what could we see happening as we move into the fall and the winter here? If we're seeing a lot more price drops, sellers and buyers aren't in line. Sellers are pricing from 2023, 2024, 2022. Like they're pricing in the past where we're still pricing a little bit aggressively. We are aspirational in the price that we're going to get. Buyers feel like they should be getting a deal now. And so what happens over time, those sellers have to come more in line with where the buyers are and where the home buyers are seeing value. And so as we continue to look at the market here, as we're going into fall, as we're going into winter, what's happening? We're seeing an increase in inventory in our market, but we're still well below what would be considered a concerning market or something that would cause drastic price reductions. Like we're nowhere near anything like that. In addition to that, interest rates have remained kind of steady. You know, we were on the phone or on a call with a lender yesterday. You know, he just locked somebody in at a 5.625 rate on a FHA loan. So FHA, government loans, VA loans, we're still getting in those mid fives. I think they were paying a few points to get there, but it's not a terrible interest rate. Historically speaking, like interest rates are still pretty good right now. Conventional, we're seeing anywhere 6.25, depending upon, you're seeing people build in some discount points or use a little bit of a payment to buy the rate down in order to get their rate to a number that they feel comfortable with, and that obviously helps with monthly payment and things like that. So our average price point still on the way up, again, a couple of percent. Are we seeing some local markets that are more down, and are we seeing some that are more up? Of course, that's what happens. Some markets are hotter than others. We have 100 different boroughs and municipalities in the city of Pittsburgh and head out into the suburbs, and we get into different school districts and things like that. And price points, everything is localized. Everything is really dependent upon what price range you're in, school district, area, location, you know, what activity do we have from buyers in that market? And that's why, like, we can look at this national housing data, but it doesn't really tell the picture of our local market. Even if we just look at the Pittsburgh metro area, it doesn't give us an accurate reflection of whether or not your home is going to sell, and sell quickly, and sell for top dollar, or sell for more than maybe it should. And so as we move into, you know, we're in the middle of October right now, we're moving into winter. Obviously January, February are slow months in our market as the result of you know, holiday time. As we get into November and December, and obviously the weather's worse here, it's not as ideal for home buyers out in the market. So if you're thinking about selling right now, we have your home on the market, we're getting ready to list your home on the market. The homes that are selling are in the best condition, and they are priced well, and they're ready to go, right? If we have a lot of issues, we have a lot of repairs to make, if they're not, the home isn't showing well, like, we could tend to sit, and we're going to sit through the winter. So we have to be ready to go if we're going to list and sell a home right now. The benefit to that is we're probably not going to have as many people in and out, but the people who are coming to see our property when we list right now, they're serious buyers. They're ready to go. They're ready to pull the trigger. If we're priced well, we show well, the home will sell. If we're not, we could sit and we start chasing the market down, and that's not a position that we want to be in right now. Now, if you're a home buyer moving into this market, if you're a home buyer and we're starting out right now, we are looking for the home that we want. We have seen a lot of homes on the market. We have more options available to us. We can now start to negotiate. Start to try to build in seller assist. We can start to use some of that to do rate buy down. We can get lower pricing. We can see what homes have been on the market a longer period of time and see if they're willing, or how desperate they might be, or how motivated they might be to take advantage of the market that we're in. And so as we move into fall and winter, it's the same story every year, but it's just different this year because we're seeing a changing market happen before us nationally. However, everything is localized. And so if you're thinking about selling, we have to look at the local data, the stuff in your price point, the active competition, pending home sales. What are homes selling for? We need a pricing strategy. We need to sit down and let's talk through it. Let's go through our whole strategy of how we're going to get this home sold quickly and for the most amount of money, and get it priced correctly the first time, and we're going to end up netting more. And if you're a buyer, we have a little bit more time. We can take a little bit of time. We can negotiate a little bit more. We're going to see more inventory hit the market as we move into winter here. Does that mean, you know, if you find something you really like right now, you should wait because something better is coming up? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. A lot of times we know what we want, and if that home hits the market, we should try to negotiate it and try to get a deal done. And take advantage of the situation, because if we think and we feel that interest rates are going to continue to drop and we'll see rates start to get down and inch down, averages start to get into that mid-5 range by spring of next year, you're probably going to see a jump in competition. We already have one of the most affordable markets in the nation, and if we drive down affordability, you're going to see more buyers enter the market, and competition is going to pick up, and you're going to see multiple offers again this time next year. So if you're a buyer, take advantage of this market. If you're a seller and you need to sell, let's make sure that everything is in line, set to sell, priced correctly, ready to go, so that we can take advantage of this market and the home buyers that are in the market and are ready to go. So if there's anything that we can do, always reach out to us, call, text, email. If you'd like to have an idea what your home might sell for in this market, we're always willing to do that. Free analysis, no problem. If you're thinking about selling in the spring, come talk to us now. Let's go through. We'll get a punch list of items that we can make sure that your home's ready to go. That way you have some time. You can start to do those little items, paint this room, touch up, whatever that may be. But we like to be involved in the process early so that you're ready to go when that time comes. So as always, reach out to us if there's anything that we can do. Hopefully this was helpful for you this month. Thanks.